Speaking of moving businesses to New Hampshire, we have a lot of certifications and licensing for businesses. We have a lot of cartels, I like to call them, where you have to get permission from a certain group of people in order to operate your business a certain way. How do we address that?
We address it by the way we started to before, by putting together a group who are looking for opportunities to get rid of licensing, by pointing out that we have, and I don't even know if we have, and we know how many licensing requirements we have because it depends how you interpret them, but it's somewhere between 90 and 100, 110 different licenses, and we contrast that with California, where they have 34 license requirements. You know, we license shampoos. They're more often than not, and I would say most often there is not, any need to have these profession or trade license. You know, for example, it requires now 5,000 hours of time working as a barber before you're a master barber. A master barber allows you to open up your own shop. Now, you come from Milford. The person who I'm going to reference is no longer a barber in Milford, but I used to go down to the Milford Circle and have my hair cut all the time. And the only reason I stayed there is because I kind of liked the guy, but he was a terrible barber. You know, he was like always like an eighth of an inch, a quarter inch off of where I was, and yet, you know, he was a master barber. These licensing requirements don't provide any sort of competency, and moreover, they're not necessary. You know, if you're not getting a good haircut, you go somewhere else. One of the things that is evident is that they come because they come into being and they're promoted and they're strengthened because they're a cartel situation. I remember the first term I was up there, there was a bill that would, I think it was to take from 3,000 hours to 5,000 hours, the amount of time you had to be working before you could be a master barber. I didn't see one consumer. There was no consumer that came forward and said, you know, if I could just get those other 2,000 hours, I won't encounter what Bill's encountering, which is that guy who doesn't know where his head is when he's cutting his hair. None of that at all. It was all barbers coming up who are trying to increase the barriers for entry. We don't need it. You know, I remember one bill I argued when I was on, this would have been back in 2008 when I was up there, 2009, that session anyway. They brought forward a bill to license animal masseurs.
Horses.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
I do.
And so I got up there and I said, you know, we brought an amendment. You try to point out the absurdity of those things. We brought an amendment saying that if someone could be, it was a therapist of human beings, they could be a therapist of animals. And they rejected that. Just, you know, and as you got it, I said the animals will be okay if you can. But what it was not logical at all, unless you threw in the additional factors, which is we're trying to make it expensive to get into this so we can charge consumers more money. Mm-hmm. We're trying to make it time consuming. If we could do that, it would reduce the cost of living quite a bit. It would allow young people new opportunities, you know, to take on jobs. So, yeah.
Crop TV.